आप बता।
Assalamualaikum, dear students. I hope you are doing well and everybody is safe and sound. And I hope
Assalamualaikum.
you can hear me. Please confirm in the chat box that my voice is audible to you. If by any chance you're not able to listen to me clearly or if there is any distortion, do not worry. It is being recorded. You can listen to it after we are done with today's class. I remember distinctively that I told you that I'll bring a handout in which I'll tell you how to go about a critical analysis essay. But before that, I would like to discuss some points, some articles that I've uploaded regarding the drama, The Caretaker, so that you can definitely thematically understand these pointers and add it to your attempt जो आप अटेम्प्ट करेंगे फाइनल एग्जाम के लिए सो इट्स इम्पोर्टेंट कि आप इस पे फोकस रखें. Let me share those articles with you one by one. And these articles are important. They only talk about the same things that we have been discussing throughout. However, they have certain standardization attached to it. You can see some examples from the text. Analytic part will be there कि किस तरह से आपने analysis को लिखना है आपको समझ आएगा. The first article that I have uploaded in your classroom, Google Classroom, is of course, it's called, let me attach it, Traces of Guilt, Identity, Security, and Existence. If we talk about generically, of course, all three characters in The Caretaker, including Davies, Aston, and Mick, they go through a sense of identity crisis, they have security and trust issues, and existential crisis is always there. In the modern dilemma, we have Aston who goes through a lot of ups and downs, and he wants to confide in Davies, but Davies being Davies and a person of streets have a he has a guilty conscience because he has always been through much worse, so he cannot believe that he has been rescued. He doesn't want to believe, and therefore a number of chances are given to him to get out of that dirt life that he had, but he doesn't contemplate or he doesn't एक्ट ऑन इट. जैसे उससे एस्टन कितना कुछ कहता है, मिक कहता है, लेकिन वो हमेशा हैंकी पैंकी करता हुआ चला जाता है. इसका एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आप खुद पढ़ लीजिएगा. इंट्रोडक्शन में दे आर सिंपली टॉकिंग अबाउट व्हाट हैपेंड इन द ड्रामा, व्हिच आई बिलीव आई हैव रिपीटेड मेनी टाइम्स. You should know it by now. If you don't, then you can read it later on. So, if we talk about traces of guilt, identity, and security, and if Davies has the Sidcup as a possible salvation, Aston has Garden Shed for the future prospect, and Mick has his own fantasy to expand. So, I got to think about expanding all direction. Hearn, in his study in 1982, talks about three characters कि सबको कहीं ना कहीं किसी न किसी outcome की तलाश है. They're looking for something. For example, whenever Davies time and again utter these sentences that I've got papers in Sidcup, if the weather gets right and if I have the proper shoes, I'll go and get those. So that is perhaps he's looking for salvation. What is salvation? Where the character wants some kind of affirmation from the society. Without the paperwork, you and I, we are nothing. If I don't have paperwork, the university itself, Namal University itself, will not let me in. They will not let me be in the class as an instructor. Similarly, if you don't have a student card, you're a nobody, you're an outsider, you're an outcast. And Davies, he goes through the same dilemma, so he's looking for some kind of salvation. So he has this void in his personality which he wants to fulfill, and he time and again mentioned these lines that we have read. If we talk about Aston, he wants to do something, he wants to make a point, because when he was a child, when he was younger, he had gone through such electric shock therapy and he felt abandoned. So he thinks that if he is able to make that shed in the garden, then he will be able to start or initiate something. He's stuck somewhere, right? So that this is this sense of identity and insecurity that they can't find, they cannot seem to find. If we talk about Mick, he's living in his own fantasy and he says, I'll be doing that. I have so many interests. I have done this and I know that. So all three characters, they are going in different directions from each other, और तीनों को किसी न किसी की ज़रूरत है, but they are unable to pinpoint it. The failure of the characters to relate successfully with one another is because of their sense of guilt. They cannot confine in each other. You must have observed that how Davies tried to pitch against the brothers so that he can get the best of it, and Davies cannot seem to accept the reality that Aston has gone through something and he needs to accept him the way he is, but he doesn't. So this guilt is always there, and that is why they're always isolated and secluded. They have disconnected lives and they're looking for communication. तीनों character को communication की जरूरत है, and that is one of the reasons that Aston brings Davies to the room so that he can have a sense of communication. Without communication, it is also said that humans cannot survive, and perhaps he wanted to salvage himself by helping a homeless man. And perhaps Davies, on the other hand, wanted to be helped. He wanted to be rescued because he was out in the wild for so long. So, Bolton, one of the experts in such context, has said that Pinter's fascination with human isolation and insecurity, his awareness of a brutal world where mystery and tension are always suddenly liable to appear, his recognition of the humdrum or as well as the sinister which are part of human experience, and his control of the verbal medium, all these features reappear in his latest full length play, The Caretaker. This is undoubtedly, is one of the best plays. I don't expect you to remember all these words, of course, but you can definitely take some words from here that the writer of the play is fascinated with the human isolation and insecurity, and the fact that his characters are aware of this brutality of the world, and the mystery and the tension between the characters is adamant as it was adamant in the modern era, that people could not trust people and they were materialistic and they couldn't accept or digest the fact that somebody wanted to be good to them. कैसे पता चलता है? Being Aston brings Davies to home and he just wants to help, but Davies की बात की जाए तो वो कहीं ना कहीं very ही रहता है. He's not in the acceptable mode at all. He's always asking, क्या ऐसा होगा, वैसे करेंगे, क्या मैं रह सकता हूँ? So he's definitely that. The action of the play takes place in the junk filled room of a tumble down house, and the other rooms need a lot of doing. In the opening scene of the play, we can see Aston, a slow witted and work shy man. Now, this is two of the words that you can use in characterization when you're giving a character analysis of Aston, who is in his 30s, and he has been he's the one character who invites the tramp Davies to his room, which is a junk filled room. Now Davies has been rescued from a bar fight, and there he was working as a cleaner. If we talk about Davies as a character, he has always had the sense of guilt and hatred and being an outcast. Why did he felt this guilt? Because he could not give his best. अगर आपको याद हो, सीन्स में बार बार उसे केयर टेकर की जॉब ऑफर की जाती है, तो कहता है ये करना होगा, इतना करना होगा, ब्रूम विल बी इन्वॉल्व, आई विल हैव टू डू दिस और आई विल हैव टू डू दैट. So he has that sense of guilt that he has done nothing of sort, and that is why he's so assertive when he talks to the other characters. वो कहीं ना कहीं से अपनी stance को strengthen करना चाह रहा होता है, but he's not able to do so. An outcast, of course, he has always lived on the streets and he doesn't have his paperwork. He's always hand to mouth and he's always struggling. So he feels the hatred that society has brought upon him, and he feels like an outcast. So these are the words that you can use for your character analysis or any other analysis when you're talking about this drama. Now, he's also the person who has the capacity and capability to actually retaliate and stand for the right reason in front of the society who has always oppressed him for many years in several ways. He hates blacks, and he has mentioned in the text time and again, and he uses the word they to represent them. Now, what happens is that this they is also represented in Waiting for Godot, if you remember. Waiting for Godot में भी they जो होते थे, वो one of the characters को आकर मार कर चले जाते थे. तो these are those people who are the oppressors, the elite class, the powerful class, who always take advantage of the lower classes or the tramps or the marginalized people. So that is also there. Therefore, blacks become एंड यहाँ पर अगर हम बात करें तो डेवीज इज ऑफ अ वेरी वाइड व्यू ओवर हियर दैट दीज ब्लैक्स ऑफ द सेम class level, they are responsible for his sense of guilt and trouble. In the end, Mick brutally breaks down Davies' false and fragile self created social hierarchy for him. In the context, he says, "You're a bloody imposter, mate. I can take nothing you say for at face value. Every word you speak is open to any number of different interpretation. Most of what you say is lies. You're erratic. You're just completely unpredictable. You're nothing else but a wild animal." तो मिक जब पूरा एक करेक्टर एनालिसिस करता है डेवीज का, तो ये इन वर्ड्स को वो यूज करता है. सो इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द केयर टेकर फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट टू द लास्ट, वी कैन सी दैट डेवीज हैज ऑलवेज स्ट्रगल्ड टू गेट free from those clutches of the sense of guilt that he time and again feels. And he definitely mentioned in the early part of the play where he says that I've always been treated as a dirt. I've always been treated as somebody who's at the margins. They would give me more work and less food. तो बहुत सारे वो complaints करता है. Now what happens is that he feels elevated because there is a kind-hearted man, a man in his 30s with low wit. He brings him home and he tries to salvage him, rescue him, but he blows that chance as well. He's not able to um, um, r- sustain his position in that room. So his house of false hopes is also collapsed in the end of the drama. So despite his efforts for removing his sense of guilt, he faces as it is puts him on the same level of an animal society's regard. Mick's statement in this connection is significant. When Mick calls Davies a foreigner, Davies quickly replies that I am a British citizen. So ये identity crisis है. This is existential crisis where the character has to time and again उसको बावर करवाना पड़ रहा है कि मेरा नाम मिक डेवीज है, मेरा नाम जेंकिंस है, आई एम समबडी, आई एम अ बडी, बट nobody wants to, especially Mick doesn't want to buy that. So the kind of self-image is a weapon for individuals like Davies to provide social respectability. Here, indirectly, psychologically, Davies wants respect and prestige and acceptance by the society. Therefore, he says time and again that I would like to go down to Sidcup if the weather favors me and if the shoes are a good fit, then I'll go and bring my papers and I will bring the respectability and authenticity and reliability that is required of me to be part of it. अदर देन दैट ये चलता जाएगा, डेविस का कैरेक्टर यहाँ डिस्कस होता जाएगा. हाउएवर, एक जो पॉइंट यहाँ पर है कि जब डेविस कहता है ऑन पेज नंबर 71 इन द लास्ट फ्यू पेजेस, ही सेज व्हाट अबाउट मी. सो ही ट्राइज टू प्लेस हिमसेल्फ अबव Austen's in the family circle. I never was inside a nut house. The evil has tried to penetrate everywhere and threatens the society of each individual when he pulls out his knife एट एस्टन. सो जो डेवीज है वो पूरी सोसाइटी के ईवल को रिप्रेजेंट करता है जब वो ड्रॉ करता है अपनी नाइफ को टुवर्ड्स एस्टन. ही वांट्स टू एक्ट बट ही डजंट, बाय द वे ही नेवर एक्ट्स ऑन इट. वी फाइंड हिम एट अ बेयर लेवल ऑफ एनिमल फाइटिंग फॉर हिज पोजिशनिंग. आपको पता है जो एनिमल्स होते हैं उनमें टेरिटोरियल फाइट्स होती हैं. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर टेरिटोरियल फाइट्स?
Yes, ma'am.
Could you elaborate for your classmates, please?
Ma'am, territorial fights happen when certain group of animals have control of certain areas or among wild jungles and wild patches of land. So they protect these lands against other packs as well. So like जब भी कोई भी दूसरी जगह का कोई नॉर्मल डॉग भी अगर वहां से, अगर हम डॉग्स की बात करें,
Hmm.
नॉर्मल डॉग्स भी जब अगर वहां से गुजरेगा तो वो एक वहां का पूरा जो पैक होता है वो उसको अटैक करने की कोशिश करता है, उसको ये बताने की कोशिश करता है कि भाई ये मेरी टेरिटरी है,
Hmm.
यहाँ पर आप, यहाँ पर आप मतलब वेलकम नहीं है, आप अपनी टेरिटरी कहीं और जाके बनाए. तो ये उनकी
Absolutely.
टेरिटोरियल फाइट्स वगैरह होती हैं.
एब्सोल्युटली. सो टेरिटोरियल फाइट हम देख सकते हैं कि एक होमलेस मैन को एस्टन घर लेकर आता है तो वो उसको अपनी टेरिटरी बना देता है. आई हैव मेनी कैट्स, आई माइट हैव मेंशन्ड सम टाइम. सो जो मेल कैट्स होते हैं, जो घर के मेल कैट्स हैं, अगर कोई बाहर से मेल कैट आता है तो दे फाइट लाइक मैड. आई डोंट नो, आई डोंट हैव द इमेजरी. वो पागल ही हो जाते हैं, दे गो नट्स एंड दे फाइट लाइक कि ये मेरा घर है. जबकि झगड़ना भी नहीं आता, लेकिन बिकॉज ये उनकी टेरिटरी है, ये उनका स्पेस है, सो दे वुड फाइट टू द एंड. अब द फैक्ट दैट एस्टन की जगह डेवीज draws out, because it was not his place in the very first place, it was Aston's place, but he draws the knife in order to showcase his aggression. That is also part of the aggression that was there in the modern society, that could be seen in people, that they wanted to protect their materialistic possessions, and they wanted a place to stay, they wanted communication, they wanted respectability, prestige, but they were unable to find any. तो ये करेक्टर जो है इसी तरह से आपको ये चीजें ड्रॉ करता है. सो अनदर लाइन ये भी उसी टेक्स्ट से है जो हमने कभी डेफिनेटली पढ़ी होगी. वी फाइंड हिम एट द बेयर लेवल ऑफ एनिमल फाइटिंग फॉर हिज पोजीशन, ड्रॉइंग इट्स टूथ एंड क्लॉ out for it, but he has no place to say. Aston says, I live here, you don't. Then Davies, being in an existential crisis, identity crisis, security issues, and traces of guilt, वो कहता है, don't I? Well, I live here. I was offered a job here. So he still finds a point कि वो बना सकता है, but he was not able to. अब यहाँ पर एक कंपैरिजन दिया हुआ है विद द अदर ड्रामा दैट वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इन वेटिंग फॉर गॉडो. इन Beckett's Waiting for Godot, the two main characters are waiting for salvation to come, and that salvation is Mr. Godot, who's gonna come, and we are never told कि वो किस चीज का वेट कर रहे हैं. In Pinter's Caretaker, one of the character Davies is within sight of salvation and is driven out of paradise by his own original sin. Now, this is a very pertinent line that you can definitely quote कि डेविस जो है उसको एक चीज, एक salvation, एक paradise मिल जाती है, लेकिन उसका original sin क्या है? That he's a nobody, that he doesn't have paperwork, that he doesn't have the capacity and compassion to trust anybody without a reason, because he's always been watching over his shoulder. He has never been at ease. So it's his original sin that causes him to go out of the paradise. इसमें एक और जो आप बात समझ सकते हैं, that is the scenario of Adam and Eve. उनका original sin क्या था? That they took a forbidden fruit from a forbidden tree, and then their sin became something as a punishment, that they were sent to the earth to live for the rest of their lives. So similarly, अगर इस imagery को हम इसमें use करना चाहेंगे, डेविस के साथ भी similar ही चीज होती है. It is Mick who plays the role of Snake in this reenactment of Adam's expulsion from paradise by apparently accepting Davy's inane boast, his complaints about Aston. He has deliberately provoked him into revealing the worst side of his nature. अब डेविस को चाहिए था कि जब उसको ऑफर हो रही है तो थोड़ा 19-20 करके थोड़ा सा पीछे स्टेप कर लेता, but it is his original sin that he is not able to take a step back, and Mick unveils and unravels the character of Davies in such a manner that then he's expelled and he has to go. ठीक है. So his guilt of concept of other victims of the system, of women, starting with his discarded wife, of blacks, Poles, Jews, whom he hates with the relentless paranoia. There is no beginning or end to evil, either as an individual or as a social construct. Evil in society or social, evil in social as well as personal form becomes a set of infinitely reflecting mirrors. अब देखिए, evil हम सब में होता है. You have some evil, I do have some evil. We have some personal issues, we have some collective issues, we have something. We always have something, right? But if we talk about the society, it also incorporates, it also pushes us towards the wall कि हमारा जो bad side है, जो evil side है, वो किसी ना किसी तरह से construct, social construct बन के बाहर आ सकता है. So Mick and Davies in the rhetoric of victimization, and Mick and Aston in the secret bond of terror. Why they are in bond of terror? Because Aston has gone through a electric shock therapy, which has left him in a vegetated state. His mind doesn't work to its full capacity, and Mick is unable to face him because Mick did not save him. He was not able to save him. So कहीं ना कहीं ये sense of guilt इन characters में रहती है. एस्टन की भी एक बहुत लंबी सी डायलॉग थी कहीं पर, if you remember, where he open up opens up in front of Davies and tells him that why he's the way he is, what happened to him, and how the doctors would come in the night and give them shocks. And the most provoking and heartbreaking point that he shares is that his mother signed off for him to be treated this way. So he is a victim and he's always lived in the bond of terror. Now, if we talk about Davies, besides his guilty conscious, he's also have this existence that he cannot tolerate to exist with each other. He doesn't know how to live in harmony with others. If you see that in the entire play, he gets very demanding, he becomes very ill, and he spoke so ill of Aston and Mick in front of each other. He tried to pitch the brothers against each other. So he's a symbol of a person who's a victim of his own brain, who's a victim of his own insufficient brain capacity. Okay, the sense of guilt underlines how feeble he is as compared to the outside world. Davies is expelled from his existence, totally enters the world of non-being as an uninvited guest. इसी तरह बेटे ये चलता जाएगा, इसको आप पढ़ लीजिएगा. It will help your analysis in many ways. Then ये डेविस की बात हो रही. अब एस्टन पे चलते. एस्टन टू हैज isolated himself from the society which he had carried out an aggression on him. He says in his long monologue that I don't like to talk to people anymore. I stay out of such places. उसने जहाँ कैफे से इसको रेस्क्यू किया होता है वो कहता है I never go into them now. I don't talk to anyone like that. He feels alienated from his own mother who he thinks had betrayed him by exposing him to the electric treatment. And he also refers to the hostile forces that beset him as they. अब देखिए डेविस भी दे को रिप्रेजेंट करता है और एस्टन भी दे को रिप्रेजेंट करता है, लेकिन दोनों के लिए दे का जो मायने है वो एक एक्सटर्नल फोर्स, अ ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल हैं जो उन्हें सब्जुगेट करते हैं और उस उनको अप्रेस करते हैं या मार्जिनलाइज करते हैं. सो द फैक्ट दैट एस्टन हैज अ सेल्फ estrangement, and he realizes his self estrangement, it can be seen as a vast gap between his self image as being good at his hands and capable of building shed for himself, and the sad reality of his being unable to even set right or play with the plug. आपको पता है ना, सीन में बार बार वो एक प्लग लेके उसको ठीक करने की बार बार कोशिश करता है, वही करता चला जाता है. So he's unable to do so, but he thinks that if he's able to do so, then he will get his self image back. So the sense of guilt, the sense of insecurity is definitely there. Now, if we talk about Mick तो बहुत ही different है as compared to these two. Mick is alienated from both of these characters. He never speaks with brothers amicably and candidly. We have seen in different occasions कि ये दोनों faintly एक दूसरे को smile pass करते हैं और hardly ही कुछ एक दूसरे को कहते हैं जिसमें कोई भी meaningful conversation हो सके. So the theme of communication is there. The theme of time and communication is definitely there, that they don't have time for each other because they don't have communication and a bond with each other. They are isolated and secluded. Now, perhaps Aston's mental incapability and incapacities are one of the factors behind the fact that Mick doesn't want to talk to Aston. Now, Mick has an aggressive, world-like behavior towards Davies. He's dismissal and dismissive of Davies. वो उसको disrespect भी करता है, disdain भी provide करता है. He never accepts him as a member of a family. Now, Mick also interrogates the Davies, and he tries to pitch the brothers against each other. Davies is not satisfied with what he has received. He demands more, so he's so demanding. And he says, "You have got to be a good friend to me. You took me in, you took me in. You didn't ask me no questions. You give me a bed. You have been a mate to me." Now, the end of the play shows that Davies is only looking for his own good situations. He doesn't want to provide the companionship that perhaps Aston wants to have from him. Aston has always lived alone, and he has gone through such hardships and ups and downs. So perhaps he wanted communication, which is not there in the very first place. So these problems are definitely there. In the conclusion, um, in the connection, Davies' situation is evident. If Davies cannot create the unity of self with the other, it is the result of his various attempts to get better of the other. देखिए, अगर आपने किसी के साथ सिमिलर सेम लेवल पे चलना है तो उस इंसान को आपको सेम लेवल ऑफ रिस्पेक्ट देनी पड़ेगी. अब डेविस expects to be respected and accepted by the society, but he fails to accept Aston's reality. Aston opens up to him और वो उसी information को उसके खिलाफ इस्तेमाल करता है. Right? So Bolton states that the issue of identity is raised in a more telling way in The Caretaker. Davy's identity is frequently the focus of interest. He's not the person he pretends to be in the society since he is using an assumed name, Jenkins. So far as society is officially concerned, he does not exist and has no social right. Okay? Similarly, Acha, do you understand the concept of id, ego, and superego, the psychoanalytic theory of Sigmund Freud? Any idea what it is?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. Basically, what happens, let me show you a little video first and then I can talk about it. Maybe you know the words conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, can you define it? What do you understand by conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind? That's okay.
Ma'am,
जी बताएं.
with conscious, you are doing something with conscious, like you are focused, you intend to do something like that. Like आपके दिमाग में वो चीज चल रही होती है. सबकॉन्शियसली ये होता है कि लाइक आपके माइंड में बैक साइड पे, मतलब आपको पता होता है कि भाई मेरे माइंड में ये चीज है, लेकिन आप उसको फोर फ्रंट पे नहीं ला रहे होते. मतलब वो आपके कहीं ना कहीं पर पड़ा, मतलब माइंड के किसी न किसी कोने में पड़ा होता है. और अनकॉन्शियस ये होता है कि आप करना कुछ और चाह रहे होते हैं, लेकिन आपका माइंड जो है इंटरनली आपको कुछ और करने में मजबूर कर देता है कि आप आपको पता ही नहीं चलता आप कौन सा काम अगर आप कोई कर रहे हैं कि लाइक आपको जो है ना वो फोर फ्रंट पे नहीं होता, आपके माइंड में वो बात हो, आपको नहीं लगता कि आपके माइंड में वो बात मौजूद है. आप अनकॉन्शियसली जो है उस चीज के पीछे चल रहे होते हैं.
That's almost correct. जी गुलशेर बताएं.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
जी, go ahead.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Conscious and subconscious theory given by the Sigmund Freud. He compares conscious and unconscious with the ice bridge that our mind lives in the conscious and unconscious. जैसे ice bridge होता है ना कि ऊपर वाला ऐसा जो होता है वो हमारा कॉन्शियस है, जो 10% होता है. हम 10% चीजें हैं ना वो जान सकते हैं, और जो 90% चीजें हैं वो हमारे दिमाग के अंदर चल रही होती है, जो सप्रेस्ड डिजायर होती है, जिनको हम सोचना नहीं चाह रहे होते, वो सारी हमारे जो ट्रॉमास वगैरह होते हैं, सारा कुछ होता है वो हमारे अनकॉन्शियस माइंड के अंदर हो जाए. तो वो जो पानी के अंदर जो आइस ब्रिज है ना, वो सारा क्या शो करता है, अनकॉन्शियस माइंड.
That's very good. So you know the theory. Now, for the rest of you who have listened or heard about this for the very first time, in order to explain the same phenomena, Sigmund Freud, who is the father of psychology, he's also given a theory which is called the psychoanalytic theory, and he has divided the human brain, the conscious level, into three parts: id, ego, and superego. I'll play a little video first and then I'll come back to this analysis. It will make more sense then. So let's watch this video together and then we can move forward.
Sigmund Freud is one of the most famous names in psychology. Even though most of his ideas have been abandoned by modern psychology, his psychoanalytic theory formed the basis for many current psychodynamic theories. Freud was the first to discuss the unconscious mind and its role in human behavior. Freud believed that there were three levels of consciousness. First is the unconscious mind, which exists outside of your awareness at all times. Next is the preconscious mind, which includes all information that you are not currently aware of, but that can be recalled. Finally, the conscious mind is your current state of awareness. Remember the cartoons you used to watch as a child? The main character is confronted with a choice. On his left shoulder is a little devil pushing him toward a bad choice. On his right shoulder, a little angel is encouraging him to make a good choice. He is stuck in the middle and forced to make a decision that will affect him. This scenario is much like Freud's theory of personality. There are three parts to personality according to Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory. These are the id, superego, and ego. The id is the first to develop, the ego is second, and the superego is the last to develop. The id is the biological component of the personality and includes your instincts. The id operates in our unconscious mind. It is like the little devil sitting on the cartoon character's shoulder that's always selfish and needy. It operates according to the pleasure principle. The pleasure principle is the idea that all of your needs should be met immediately. Then there's the superego. The superego exists in all three levels of consciousness. The superego is like the little angel. It is always concerned with what is socially acceptable. The superego pushes you to obtain the ego ideal, or your view of what is right. It also represents your conscience, or your view of what is considered to be wrong. Finally, we have the ego. The ego operates in your preconscious and conscious mind. The ego is part of the personality that makes your decisions. This is like the cartoon character in the example. The ego is in the middle, makes the decision, and faces the consequences. The ego operates according to the reality principle. The reality principle is the idea that the desires of the id must.
Okay, so you can listen to Course Hero as well if you are interested. I just wanted to tell you a basic of it. I hope you've got some idea about it. Now, going back to again id, ego, and superego, like Abdullah also described and Gulsher as well. It works on pleasure principle on which I want to get everything done instantly. जो मेरा instinct, basic instinct कह रहा है मुझे वो fulfill करना है. Superego actually works on the morality principle that whether what I'm doing is socially and otherwise acceptable, whether it is moral or not, and ego on the other hand, which is based on reality principle कि मुझे ये करना है कि नहीं करना. Now let's dive into the characters, how their unconscious and conscious mind is working in order to provide complexity and repressed wishes which are activated in one way or another. When the unconscious establishes its dominance over the ego, all complexes and repressed wishes are activated, and there is no way out for ego but only a meek submission to it. The structure of the play works out this theme. The play opens with the arrival of a tramp called Davies. He has been brought to Mick's room by Aston. Davies starts abusing Aston's kindness and even he tries to play them off against each other. First Aston and then Mick. But the bond between the two proves quite strong, and it is Davies who is eventually evicted from the room at the end of the play. Davies is a destructive agent of the unconscious. He does not bring any message of happiness or security for Aston, only annihilation, the fragmentation of personality. The fragmentation happens when Aston in Act 2 confesses to Davies about the electric shock which he has had as a child in the mental hospital. So when you're talking about the scenario that I explained before the video, you might interpret or incorporate these pointers as well. Now, Davies is a symbol of unconscious world who's responsible for all the burdens of the suppressed wishes which are manifested through his racial hatred, where he says all them Greeks had it, Poles, Greeks, blacks, a lot of them aliens had it, and they had me working there. All them
Assalamualaikum,
blacks,
ma'am. Are you there?
blacks, Greeks, Poles, and lot of them. That is what doing men out of a seat, treating me like dirt. So again and again he says that I was treated as dirt, and his unconscious mind is working that way. Okay, but there was some voice. कौन है? ये बताएं. Somebody said something. I couldn't focus. No? Chलो, fine. I must have heard it in my mind then. Anyway, यहाँ तक बात समझ आ गई है. उसके बाद अगर हम नीचे चलें तो ये सेम डिस्कशन चल रही है, इसको आप जरूर देखिएगा. एक जो इम्पोर्टेंट बात ये है कि लैक ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन की बात है यहाँ पर, वो भी आपने देखनी है और अंडरस्टैंड करनी है. Oh, okay. I forgot to unmute myself and I was talking. I'm sorry. I just received a message in the group and I was asking कि कौन बोला. Fine. So going back to the discussion that I missed, now I'm audible to you. Sometimes it happens. I try my best to not make such mistakes लेकिन हो जाती हैं.
Yes, ma'am. Now you're audible.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. We were discussing in the group that there might be some trouble or anything.
नहीं, sometimes I forgot. It's fine. I'm recording तो उसमें आपको ये twice सुनेगा तो आप सुन लीजिएगा. Anyway, so psychoanalytic theory की बात आपको समझ आ गई, जिसमें हमारे पास id, ego and super ego है. Id is something that works on the pleasure principle, where I want to get everything done according to my instinct, जो मेरी basic instinct है, या जो मेरा pleasure principle है, या जो मैं exactly चाहती हूँ वो उस वक्त हो जाए. Super ego, on the other hand, works on the morality principle, that whether what I'm doing or acting or reacting is socially acceptable or not. And third, ego, on the other hand, is something that works on the reality principle. Sometimes we have to make a decision which we might not accept or understand, and it might not please us, but we will have to take that decision. So, ego comes in and it decides for you. Now, if we go back to the discussion that I wanted to, highlight over here, where unconscious mind has been mentioned. When the unconscious establishes its dominance over the ego, all complexes and repressed wishes are activated, and there is no way out for ego but to submit. Now, the structure of the play is the similar kind. When we see the arrival of the tramp called Davies, he has been brought by Aston to mixed room, but he tries to pitch them against each other. So that is his pleasure principle, that he wants to occupy that place, and his super ego and ego is not in the प्ले. उसकी जो अनकॉन्शियस माइंड है, यानी प्लेजर है, उसकी इड है, इट्स ऑल ओवर कि ठीक है मुझे कोई ले आया है तो आई वांट टू बी एक्सेप्टेड एंड आई वांट टू बी देयर. नाउ डेविस इज अ डिस्ट्रक्टिव एजेंट ऑफ अनकॉन्शियस. ही डज नॉट ब्रिंग एनी मैसेज ऑफ हैप्पीनेस or security for Aston. He doesn't bring anything to the table, but he wants everything in return. He is only somebody who brought fragmentation of personality or annihilation. Now, this fragmentation happens when Aston in Act 2 confesses Davies about the electric shock which he has had in the mental hospital. So, the fact that Aston opened up to Davies and he tried to make a connection, he wanted to communicate with Davies, but Davies, being the symbol of unconscious world and somebody who's evil, who has been burdenized and suppressed by the racial hatred and the outcasting that he has always received, he was not able to perceive and receive it with warm heart or warm arms. So he says in reaction that all them Greeks had, यानी वो एस्टन की बात नहीं सुनता है, उसको किसी तरह से कंसोल नहीं करता. He always talks about his hatred that he has against all these Greeks, Poles, blacks, and etc. He says all them Greeks had it, Poles, Greeks, blacks, a lot of them aliens had it, and they had me working there. All them blacks had it, blacks, Greek, Poles, the lot of them, that's what doing men out of a seat, treating me like dirt. Davies has come from the world of uncertainty under the excuse of being an outcast. Nobody knows about his past and his identity, and he has two names. One is Jenkins, and sometimes he calls himself McDavies. Perhaps he has come from the world of nothingness. That is existential crisis for you, राइट. इसी तरह से आपको यहाँ पर एक पॉइंट है वाइफ से हवाले से भी. ही इज अग्रेसिव, रिजेंटफुल, वाइनिंग, एंड above all he stinks. His past is unknown. It is possible that he had a wife and he had abandoned her. Now, Davies is a Welsh name, but he never accepts because his accent and speech is not that way, and the details of his papers in Sitkub are a mystery. Despite their prominence in the play, Davies believes that Sitkub holds the answer to all those problems. जैसे Waiting for Godot में उन्हें लगता था कि Mr. Godot will bring the answers, इसको ऐसा लगता है कि Sitkub जाऊंगा तो सारे problems हल हो जाएंगे. उसके बाद अगर हम ये एनालिसिस चल रहा है, डू लुक एट इट, रीड करिएगा, ये लाइंस आपको हेल्प करेंगे आपके एनालिसिस में. अदर देन दैट, another point, that is the lack of trust and communication among characters. You see that all these characters, they are going into different directions, and they have a distrust and lack of confidence in each other, and they are frustrated out of it. If we talk about Mick, he only comes in the scene and talks to Davies. Character assassinates him, disrespects him or interrogates him and leaves, but he doesn't talk to his brother. We don't see a monologue or a discussion or a conversation between the two brothers at all. Other than that, if we talk about the need of communication is fully evident in the play, but characters' distress and lack of confidence is there. Emotional and psychological fulfillment is there. All three characters, they want communication. They want people to be there. Because अगर आप Aston की बात करें, the fact that he opens up to Davies is that he needs a companion. Davies, on the other hand, is assertive and authoritative, but उसकी speeches से भी ऐसा ही लगता है कि he wants the place to stay and he wants to be part of family. Mick की बात करें तो he opens up to Davies as well and he says that I have a dream, I'll be expanding my work, I'll be doing this, I'll be doing that. और कहीं पे वो कहता है कि you are the only person I've told my dreams to and you're telling me that you're a fraud, you're a fake. तो इससे हमें पता चलता है कि कहीं ना कहीं तीनों करेक्टर्स कहीं ना किसी तरह से साइकोलॉजिकली या इमोशनली बर्डनड है एंड दे वांट टू कम्युनिकेट बट दे आर अनएबल टू डू सो बिकॉज देयर इज डिस्ट्रस्टफुलनेस अमंग द करेक्टर्स. तो इस पूरे पॉइंट को एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए यहाँ पे ये पूरा पैराग्राफ आप पढ़ सकते हैं तो आपको समझ आ जाएगी. एज फार एज द कंक्लूजन इज कंसर्न, डेवीज डेथ इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट एविडेंस for the punishment of unconscious in the trial of the ego. He should pay for what he has done. He's also exiled to the same place that he had come from at first. आपको याद है प्ले में ये कहता है मिक को that Aston should go to the place where he came from, जिस पे मिक कहता है came from. So वो जो एस्टन के लिए चाहता है वो उसके साथ हो जाता है. This is how reality principle works. देखिए रियलिटी यही थी कि ही वॉज द ट्रैप, डेवीज वॉज द ट्रैप, ही वॉज एन आउटसाइडर. He should have been humbled. He should have been taking a step back. He should have been at the receiving end and in the submissive act. But he was not that so. Therefore, he is expelled from the paradise he thought he found. The escape from the past is not possible. The past is a big punishment. Everybody wants to forget it. At the same time, one can also identify with the fact that the effects of the past are virtually inescapable. There is perhaps universality about the predicament which audiences consciously or unconsciously recognize. Davies faces prospect of being expelled from his refuge and the two brothers of returning to their former state of non-communication and isolation. This is a very good article for you to grab and read multiple times from the perspective of examination. ये आपको बहुत कुछ प्रोवाइड करेगा, आपके एनालिसिस में वर्ड्स प्रोवाइड करेगा, तो डेफिनेटली आपको हेल्प हो जाएगी. Acha, apart from this, another article that I've uploaded, let me showcase it to you. This is an easier one. इसका सिर्फ मैं conclusion पढ़ूंगी. As you can see, the title theme of loneliness and isolation in Pintos. तो इसको भी आप पढ़ लेंगे तो पूरी कहानी क्लियर हो जाएगी. आइसोलेशन एंड लोनलीनेस कैसे है, कम्युनिकेशन का आइसोलेशन और लोनलीनेस से क्या ताल्लुक है, वो सारा कुछ आप यहाँ पर देख पाएंगे. इसके अलावा अगर हम इसका कंक्लूजन देखें तो फ्रॉम द एनालिसिस दैट यू विल रीड फ्रॉम दिस आर्टिकल, इट कैन बी concluded that the author confirms the inescapability of man's loneliness. However, the cautious explanation of theme of loneliness discloses that loneliness may be result of humans' inadequacies or enforced by certain aggressive conditions schemed and combined against him. Sometimes इंसान खुद से ऐसा कुछ करता है जो उसके अगेंस्ट चला जाता है और sometimes circumstantial होता है. यहाँ पर हम देख सकते हैं कि ये दोनों है. It is an amalgamation of both, but on the upper hand we can say it's self brought on. डेविस खुद अपने पर ये प्रॉब्लम, ये आइसोलेशन की प्रॉब्लम दोबारा लाता है. The first explanation applies to Davies' state of affairs. He was saved by Aston when he was in trouble, alone and lonely. He did not believe his chance after Aston's offer a shelter. Yet he evaluates things when they are really absent and not present. In fact, he was given several opportunities to reconcile and merge with the world and conquer his feeling of loneliness, but he did not exploit them and was unable to respond with humbleness. In contrast, Aston was destined and ruined by loneliness due to various reasons, one of which was the society which condemned his energy and sensitivity. Despite his apparent insights and artistic tendencies, he was diminished to conventionality. यानी वो अगर हटकर था तो उसको किसी किस्म का इलेक्ट्रिक शॉक देकर वेजिटेटिव स्टेट में छोड़ दिया गया. His mother's cruelty and betrayal and his brother's scheme also betrayed him and put him in a mental hospital to make scientific experiments on his brain. So he did everything adequate to make real companionship in order to defeat his loneliness, yet he was also betrayed by Davies. So अगर हम betrayal की बात करें, so the most betrayed character in the entire play is Aston. Nevertheless, it looks sarcastic to imagine how hopeless Aston and Davies were in their longing for a sympathetic companionship and communication, how they did not achieve their goal, and how tragic was their end. So, the entire drama is not only a tragedy, it is also an avant garde play because it has all the characteristics, just like Waiting for Godot. Other than that, the theme of isolation, time, communication, seclusion, and loneliness is very much prevalent. Another article that might help your analysis is verbal representation of existential crisis. इसमें linguistic analysis दिया हुआ है, तो वो भी अगर आप incorporate करते हैं तो वो बहुत अच्छा आपका touch provide करता है आपके analysis को. For example, theme of communication या human inability to communicate की बात हो तो elliptical sentences है. ellipsis क्या होते हैं बेटे? ये जो 3 डॉट्स होते हैं, इससे हमें बहुत कुछ पता चलता है. बहुत सारे लाइंस जो हमने इस पूरे ड्रामा में पढ़े, आपको पता है, आपने गौर किया होगा कि उसमें elliptical sentences थे. Even the last sentence by Davies was elliptical. So this was what I wanted to share with you about the themes and the important points. I hope it's clear. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask.
मैम
जी जी बताएं बेटे.
मैम यहाँ पे सेटिंग भी एवन-गार्ड प्ले की तरह ही है ना, मतलब
हाँ
दिस इज द टोटली प्ले रिवॉल्व्स अराउंड वन रूम.
बिल्कुल. हम उसको मिनिमलिस्टिक तो नहीं कह सकते, बट एवेंगार्ड क्यों है? क्योंकि द स्टैग्नेशन ऑफ द स्टेज स्टेज द सेम. ठीक है, बस वहीं पे रहते हैं तीनों करेक्टर की एंट्री और एग्जिट वहीं पर रहती है, तो वो स्टेग्नेशन और स्टैटिक नेचर ऑफ द स्टेज इज डेफिनेटली देयर. अगर एवेंगार्ड की और बात करें तो एसिमेट्रिकल भी है. इसके अलावा ट्रैम्प भी है हमारे पास. डेवीज जो एक ट्रैम्प है एज अ प्रोटोगनिस्ट, ही इज वेरी मच इनटू द मिक्स. इसके अलावा ऑस्ट्रे सेटिंग में प्रॉपरली ना भी हो तो 50% ऑस्ट्रे सेटिंग में ये डिवेल्व हो सकता है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द आर्गुमेंटेशन दैट यू विल बी एबल टू बिल्ड. सो ये एवेंट गार्ड भी है. अच्छा, एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट बात कि कुछ लाइंस दोनों ड्रामास में सेम हो सकती है ना. जैसे सेटिंग के लिए दे डू नॉट मूव, नथिंग नथिंग नथिंग, इस तरह से कुछ वर्ड्स जो आपको आप मिक्स कर सकते हो कि दोनों ड्रामास में से. अगर कोई ऐसी लाइन एग्जाम में आती है जो कि दोनों ड्रामास में है तो आप रेफरेंस टू द कॉन्टेक्स्ट में दोनों ड्रामास का लिख सकते हैं कि ये लाइन इसमें भी है और उसमें भी है, और इसमें ये बात है तो उसमें वो बात है. दो दो लाइनों में आप उसे जस्टिफाई कर सकते हैं. Okay, any other question बेटे?
मैम थोड़ा पेपर के बारे में बता दें.
Paper has been discussed on the campus. I think I've already told you there will be there will be 3 questions, 17, 17 and 16, and there could be multiple sub parts of each question. Reference to the context होगा, और वो 2 पैराग्राफ्स भी हो सकते हैं, 2 लाइनें भी हो सकती हैं, and more than that भी हो सकती हैं. You have to pay attention to the marks allocation. रेफरेंस टू द कॉन्टेक्स्ट कैसे करते हैं वो भी मैंने आपसे कैंपस पे शेयर कर दिया था. आपसे एक्सपेक्टेशन ये है कि आप 3 हेडिंग्स देंगे, रेफरेंस, कॉन्टेक्स्ट एंड एक्सप्लेनेशन. और एक्सप्लेनेशन जो है वो डिस्क्रिप्टिव नहीं, क्रिटिकल होनी चाहिए. रेफरेंस में आप नेम ऑफ द प्ले एंड द राइटर लिख देंगे, और अगर सीन और एक्ट पता है तो वो. कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आप जेनेरिकली स्टार्ट करेंगे और स्पेसिफिकली लाइंस में क्या बात हो रही है उसकी बात करेंगे, 10 to 15 लाइंस ओनली. एंड explanation has to be extensive. explanation में multiple paragraphs भी हो सकते हैं और extensive paragraph भी हो सकते हैं. so this is your, और टाइम तो आपको पता ही होगा, डेट शीट भी आपके पास ही होगी. ठीक है, और कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो बेटे बताएं. अच्छा, ये एक हैंड आउट है, ये मैं अभी पोस्ट भी कर देती हूँ बेटे आपकी क्लास में। मैं थोड़ा सा आपको बताऊंगी, बाकी आपने खुद पढ़ना है, सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी है, ये इतना मुश्किल नहीं है। नाउ हाउ टू राइट अ लिटरेरी एनालिसिस एसे। इसमें 4 चीजें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। ये जो पैराग्राफ है और ये जो लाइंस है, राइटिंग is the sharpened focused expression of thought and study. When you develop your writing skills, you need to improve your perceptions to increase your critical abilities. देखिए, आपको मैंने क्लास एक्टिविटी एक दी थी, अब इसमें आपने बुरा नहीं मानना, ये सच्चाई है तो है। मैंने आपको क्लियरली बोला कि क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन है और क्या लिखना है, फिर भी आपने सीधा सीधा वो लाइन यूट्यूब किधर लिखी, गूगल में लिखी, और जो पहली इंटरप्रिटेशन मिली आप में से 70% बच्चों ने सीधी सीधी मुझे वही दे दी। देखें, ओपन बुक एनालिसिस का मकसद ही ये था कि आप 3-4 जगह से पढ़ें एंड यू डेवलप योर क्रिटिकल एबिलिटीज। अगर क्रिटिकली लिखना नहीं आएगा तो आप क्या सीखेंगे, ये आपको खुद भी सोचना है ना। और आप लोगों ने हमसे बेहतर बनना है, सो इट्स इम्पोर्टेंट कि आप ये हरकतें ना करो। राइट, आई कैन नेम दो स्टूडेंट्स बट आई विल नॉट वेस्ट माई टाइम ऑन देम। नाउ योर ऑब्जेक्टिव इन राइटिंग, when you're writing an analysis, literary analysis essay, is to convince the person, the reader, that you have supported what you're saying. आप जो क्लेम कर रहे हो, अगर आप क्लेम करते हो कि डेवीज इज एन आउटकास्ट, तो टेल मी हाउ। स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट को डेवलप करने के लिए डिस्कस करें कि वो क्यों आउटकास्ट है। क्या वो एक इंटरनल फीलिंग है, क्या वो एक्सटर्नल फीलिंग है, क्या लोगों ने उसको बावर करवाया या उसने खुद बावर कर लिया। ये चीजें आप नहीं दोगे तो आपका क्लेम कभी भी जस्टिफाई नहीं होगा और वो कभी भी क्रिटिकल नहीं होगा। So, unlike ordinary conversation and classroom discussions, writing must stick with great determination to a specific point of development. You should have a claim that has to have some kind of argumentation and exemplification. Now, this kind of writing demands tight organization and control. Therefore, the essay must have a central idea, that is the thesis statement, and it must have several paragraphs corresponding to the same thesis statement or the central ideas. And it should have a system. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने थीसिस स्टेटमेंट में 4 चीजें मेंशन की हैं और चारों पैराग्राफ में चारों को आप, वो अब मैं जो वर्ड यूज कर रही हूँ फील नहीं करना, रोल रहे हैं। यू हैव टू इनकॉर्पोरेट वन आइडिया इनटू वन पैराग्राफ टू मेक योर राइटिंग ऑर्गेनाइज्ड इनफ कि जो आप पॉइंट प्रूव करना चाह रहे हैं वो प्रूव हो। Everything in it must be directly related to the central idea and must contribute to the reader's understanding of the central idea that has been asked in the question. These are the 3 pointers अपने mind में रखने हैं। Your essay must cover the topic that you're writing about. Your essay must be relevant to the central idea that you have stated in your thesis statement, and it should be able to govern the development of your entire essay. And your essay must be organized in such a part in such a manner that every part contributes to the central idea and to readers understanding कि ये point दूसरे point से कैसे कलेक्टेड है और कनेक्टेड है। ठीक है बेटे, इसमें एनालिसिस लिखे हुए आप इन्हें पढ़ सकते हैं, ये मैं अभी आपको शेयर कर देती हूँ और इसको आप देख लीजिए। टेक्सचुअल एविडेंस किस तरह से लिखते हैं वो भी बहुत अच्छा इसमें आपको बताया हुआ है कि समरी, पैराफ्रेज, स्पेसिफिक डिटेल्स एंड डायरेक्ट कोटेशंस को कैसे रेफर करते हैं। तो ये आप पढ़ लोगे तो आपका राइटअप कदरे बेहतर हो जाएगा। ठीक है, ये मैंने आपसे कहा था मैं क्लास में ले आऊंगी, इसमें एक सैंपल भी है, इसको पढ़ लीजिएगा। And that will be all for today. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask. Meanwhile, I am going to...
Yes, ma'am.
जी बताएं।
I have a question. मैम जो आपने क्विज लिया था हमारे गूगल क्लासरूम में, हमारे पॉइंट्स भी बता दिए हैं। सम ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स जिनसे मेरी बात हुई, उन्होंने कहा कि मैम हमें करेक्ट भी किया है ना कि मतलब देयर इज अ लैक ऑफ दिस थिंग इन योर क्विज। मैम आई हैव अ कंफ्यूजन। you can only mark my marks ना, but मेरा क्विज अच्छा हुआ था कि बुरा, मुझे तो मुझे नहीं पता, क्योंकि सबको पता है कि मतलब उसके क्विज में ये खामियां थी, but I haven't received anything such kind of.
बेटे, मैंने आपको ऑन कैंपस भी आपने मुझसे ये बात पूछी थी, मैंने वहीं पे आपको एक्सप्लेन भी तो किया था ना।
No ma'am, I haven't asked this.
Okay, bring your test in the Monday's class. I can tell you again. Why not? आपको मैंने वापस कर दिया होगा ना।
Okay ma'am.
अगर मैंने वापस कर दिया तो आप ले आइएगा तो मैं आपसे शेयर कर
No
दूंगा।
ma'am.
नहीं किया मैंने वापस।
No ma'am, वो क्विज हमें नहीं मिले थे, वो गूगल वो गूगल क्लासरूम में है, मतलब आपने मार्क्स गूगल क्लासरूम के थ्रू दिया है।
अच्छा, I'll bring those tests in the class. ठीक है, डन। और बेटे और कोई क्वेश्चन?